Hello. We are now broadcasting live. I am Jamie Lewis, and you are in need of sales, and that's why I'm here. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different tonight, and I'm going to be revealing something I haven't talked about ever on a webinar before. And so I've prepared a whole bunch of really good stuff for you. So make sure that you close the door and turn off the phone, and make sure that you stay on with us. We won't be on here too long. I just wanted to show you a little bit into inside of the business and the workings. And also, it's important to understand that we have that questions box here. So, of course, after I'm gone through a lot of what I'm going to show you, we can take some Q&A through the questions box, and we can intermingle and make things happen. All right. So what you're looking at here is how I'd break up my business. All right. In order to do what I try to do every year, which is the seven-figure thing, I have a healthy balance of different methods of making money on the internet, right? Increasing my sales, making sure my business is booming. I use a lot of these different aspects of the game. All right, so down here you see, here are my domain sales, right? You might think that, you know what, all I do is sell domains online, and that's how I make all this money and this and that. I make good money selling websites, domains, and other aspects, like, for instance, services, lists, stuff like that, right? That brings us to this next piece of the pie, services, right? It's a little bit more. Now, here, promotion, right here, is where you see all of the, selling, like, for instance, with email marketing or with YouTube. I gave some examples right here, some of the YouTube accounts that I own, one from each account. And then the products here are products like Beats 365 or Chest Coach or Music Master Pro, all of those types of sites that I run for a little bit, for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then flip them in the established sites section of Flippa. A lot of the time they did so well that I regret selling them. Like, for instance, Sonic Producer, it made upwards of $500,000, and then I sold it in the established sites section. And then, here we are, like maybe 7 years later or something, right? It's still going strong. So it's up to you whether or not you want that real quick bonus. Sometimes it comes out of impatience. You know what I mean? You're making some money. You want to make a little bit more money ahead of time. You know what? $500,000 in a year comes out to about $10,000 a week. And so, $10,000 a week, if you have a business and you've got a wife that spends all your money. I don't know your uh, life or whatever things you're going through. But I'll tell you one thing: a lot of the time when you have the option of selling it and making 12 months, for instance, $500,000 all at once, you're going to take that. You're going to take it. But then a year later, it's still going, and you're like, oh man, why did I sell it? You know what I mean? So today, what we're going to do is talk a little bit about. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the product type of thing. All right, because I could literally talk about all the different things I've done in the last 12 years of making money online. It'd take me eons to go through all of it. You know what I mean? So let's talk about just that. All right, and I'll show you the perks of running a business like that online, and then I think you'll get the idea. So right here, you could show me any of these screenshots, and if this continues, I'm pretty good at knowing exactly how much it would be every year, ballpark. And so when I looked at this screenshot when I was preparing this for the webinar, I put this here. This is exactly pretty much how much this business, and remember, this is net. This is after affiliates and after everything has come out. This is net earnings, all right? They do take a reserve, you know what I mean? ClickBank takes a reserve out of your paychecks, but you're going to end up with probably about 800,000 a year if you're doing anywhere from 2,000 up onwards to 3,000. It's not quite the $1 million mark, because I always look at it like, if you're doing 3,000 a day, that's the million mark. You know what I mean? So if you're doing like 2,000 between 2,500 or something, that's going to end up being like 800,000. All right. So that's a good example of what happens when you're running an offer on ClickBank, or running different offers on JVZoo or whatnot. You're going to end up with this type of situation, which is pretty good. All right. Another example is this right here. This is from an affiliate account, which of course wouldn't have been in existence. This wouldn't have been happening if I didn't have the offer to begin with. All right, and so that's pretty important to take a look at. It's a lot of money right there. That's like life-changing money. It's something that really doesn't need to be even. We don't even need to run this into the ground. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of self-explanatory, and so it's important to think of the result first. In other words, and be excited about it. That's where you're going to get your drive from. That's where you're going to get your work ethic from. Is always remembering that this is the end result. Another example would be, of course, this is the famous eBay screenshot. This is where I sold Sonic Producer. All right. This is the established site section at eBay, and it says your item sold for $180,000. Now, yeah, sure, it did 500,000. I could have probably kept it on longer and gotten another 500,000 based on that 12 months. But I was just very excited to have been able to get 180,000 all at once. It's like a bonus. You know what I mean? Like when you're making $10,000 a week from one website, as I was saying, I'm pretty blessed to have a good situation. You know what I mean? Like I've heard a lot of nightmare stories from people who are in my webinars, like they've gone through divorces and stuff like that. But still, I mean, the money, it's not like you're going to be able to save all your money. So at the end of the day, you'd be like 180,000. Hell yeah, I'll take it. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time you get into that for that reason, like you're impatient or whatnot. But that's just another perk to being able to, sit back and kind of enjoy the autopilot income, and also be able to understand that your customers are enjoying what you're doing too, because you wouldn't be in existence if your customers didn't enjoy what you're doing. And so, of course, nowadays, you guys have all heard of JVZoo. Here's an example of JVZoo. As you notice here, that's one day and a lot of gross revenue. This is what I take home, right? But the good news is that these guys keep it going. You know what I mean? And that's part of the theme of what we're going to talk about today in terms of, what would you rather do? Would you rather, break your back all day buying solos and then making sure it converts, or, running Facebook ads and getting closed down left and right? Or would you rather have an offer of your own, and then you don't need to do anything at all except just make sure that your customers are happy? Of course, when you're doing, let's go back to this chart, right? You remember the graph that was showing the different things? Promotion, right? That's where you're worrying about your traffic. That's where you're worrying about your solos and your Facebook ads. Your products, you really worry about your customers being happy. You know what I mean? But the good news is with all these sites here, these examples that I show here, these sites deliver the products automatically. Like, for instance, when your customer purchases Chess Coach, they're going to get a thank you page that has their login, and it's digitally downloaded. Beats 365 is the same thing. That was Beats, where people could download Beats. 50 to 0, a little bit different. It was an ebook. All right. And then there's videos. So that's the idea, is like a lot of the time the place to be is really here, but people look at it like, you know what, it's too difficult to do that, etc. And don't look at it like that, because you know what, it's difficult to do this. It's difficult to do this. And what you guys are probably really familiar with about the domains, because we talk about selling domains all the time. Domains is pretty simple, but it has to do with, look, you either have to have a really awesome domain that you found, and then remember, make it affordable, or have products that are pretty much running on their own. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's move on, and I'll talk a little bit about the actual progression, right? We talk a lot about building the products, putting them up on the marketplace, and then recruiting affiliates or whatnot, right? I would say during that point between building them and recruiting affiliates, we need to make sure that thing converts. All right. That's something that a lot of people miss because they think, you know what, I've got an offer now online. That thing has got to convert. It's got to be the type of thing that when visitors come to that site, it has like an amazing advantage. All right. An advantage against the competition. Pretty easy to do though, because, and this is me speaking here, because the competition, in my opinion, stinks. You know what I mean? You guys have followed my launches. You've followed everything I've done online. I crush the competition. There's no question about it. I've never had a flop before. All these sites are always in just total optimum performance. Now, you're going to want to put everything through one of these split testing platforms. All right. Very, very important. We're going to help you out with that. But let me show you a good example of what happens. And this is, you know what? We're going to backtrack a little bit. I'm going to show you an example of something that didn't need any split testing, and it's all in the science. All right. So check it out. Let me make sure that this is the right thing. I've got it. Here we go. Gotta just find the exact thing. All right, you know what? To hell with it. I'll just go directly to the site. How about that? This is a great example, and the reason I want to show you guys this is it's an example of a joint venture I did with somebody. All right, I always tell people it's similar to like giving someone a record deal. You know what I mean? Like if I was Dr. Dre and this guy right here, Stevie, right? He's Eminem, right? You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. It's like I produce it, and then he's the talent, right? So when I see this guy, a lot of the time, an interview or an initial survey or I'd call it a job interview or whatever, right? You get to know someone and you get to know their talents and what they're really going to be passionate about. Now, the reason I say that is because of that conversion. You guys would be like, you know what? I see a product, I want to go into this niche because it's really successful online. There's tons of people who are interested in buying it. That's the entirely wrong reason to go into something, because you can have a crappy selling product. All right. You can have a page that you get 1,000 hits a day and only one person buys it. Or you could have a page like this where you get 100 hits and you get 10 sales from that 100 hits or 20 sales from that 100 hits. Your conversion rate is scorching. We're talking like 25% conversions. That's very, very possible. For those who don't know, 25% conversions would be every 4 people who come to the page, 1 person buys it, right? So let's take a look at this offer, all right? Sure, we're going to get into, really cool stuff like this. You'll see the results. That's a picture of 50 to 0 in 1 day, all right? That's 60 sales, all right, through ClickBank. And I was splitting the money with Steve. It's actually selling for $50, was it? And after splitting it with Steve, yeah, so you can see how powerful it is. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the offer. Right, you come to the page, and I'll show you the secret behind it. Look, this video should come on any minute.
The record speaks for itself. 120 wins, 9 losses.
All right, so that video is about 4 minutes long. All right, it's not like, anything too special, but it shows some footage of his games. Now, this is very, very important. A lot of people, I'd say 30% or 40% of the people who buy this, they're football coaches. Like, we've sold every youth football coach in the United States has probably bought this product. I'm not joking around either. All right. A lot of those people, we've spoken with them. Steve speaks with them on webinars, etc. They saw this right here, download this man's playbook, and then boom, buy it immediately. They don't even read this. All right. You look at you know what I mean? It shows him with trophies. All right. Multiple pictures of him with the trophies, like just smashing through the season. And it says, download this man's playbook. And then now, look, here's Jamie Lewis here writing a letter here. Jamie Lewis wrote the letter. Dear Coach, if you care about your kids in the game, you'll read this 4 times. It's that serious. My name is Jamie Lewis. I pulled Steve Christie's leg. I talked him into releasing his playbook, strategy, and the video that I took of his games, meetings, and clinics during the entire 2011 season. Being a father of one of the kids on Steve's team, I'll tell you this is like nothing I've ever seen before. Steve Christie coaches youth football. That's what he does. When he's not coaching youth football, he runs a sports apparel company, etc. All right, so I talk a little bit about how I pulled his leg, talked him into releasing it. He was hesitant. He didn't want other coaches to steal his stuff. But let's fast forward now 3 or 4 years later, right? Every time I see Steve Christie in the deli, he runs up to me, literally hugs me, like gives me one of those, you know, the shake the hand and then a hug with the other arm. And he says, we're still making money, baby, like that. No joke. This guy can't even believe it. And he's a hardcore type of guy. He's an Italian guy, you know, and I was brand new on the team because I'd moved up here to Connecticut. And he was to be honest with you, he was a jerk in the beginning. You know what I mean? Really kind of like a cocky guy. He's the type of guy who yells at the parents. You know what I mean? He's rough around the edges. He's crazy, right? By the end of the season, when we started working on this, and we bought the domain and we were talking about it and stuff, me and him were freaking hitting it off. We were down in Orlando, and when all the other parents fell asleep, me and this guy would go out partying. It was like that. This stuff is extremely powerful. You know what I mean? And it's not the only site that we're going to be talking about. I want to show you guys exactly, instead of going to all these different sites and taking up all your time tonight, I got a whole bunch of screenshots for you to show you examples. All right. Now, all of these are kind of like in what do you call that? Embedded into my brain or whatnot. You guys have probably heard of these, but Beats 365, of course, you got probably heard of that. That was one of my first ones. But even before that, you know what? This was actually my first one. All right, Best Beats Online. And it didn't look like this when I first built it. So this actually didn't work at first. And then I built this one. This one was a monster. All right, this did $1 million. It's very exciting. And very legit, you know what I mean? Stuff that I do, I can be proud of. And I want you guys to be proud of the stuff that you do. I don't want you guys to end up going to a family party or something and people be like, oh, you're doing scamming for a living or whatnot. You know, when I go to a family party, it's kind of like people are like they're like, you are a badass. You know what I mean? It's like you know, and if someone isn't familiar with me or something, oh my gosh, I got people behind me that let them know the real deal. You know what I mean? Be like, no, he's the real deal, etc. And I want you guys to be the real deal too. And that's why I talk about getting into passion projects and stuff that like Steve Christie, you know, getting into football or whatnot. Here's another one. Didn't do as well, but it is a beautiful site, and that's something I designed myself. The problem that happened with that is that I don't know a heck of a lot about girls. You know what I mean? Like their bodies and stuff. I mean, I just don't know that. I mean, that's funny. But I'm an honest guy. It was okay. Got a few conversions. But it's something that I wasn't really familiar with. You know what I mean? This one was ridiculously amazing. All right. The reason for that is people are looking for cars. The only thing I'd advise with this niche is that it's not really like an email-based niche. It's more of like an affiliate marketplace niche. All right. This is 2005, 2006. This is one of the newer ones. You'll probably be able to see more about it in the documentary. Let me show you another one. This was a badass one. I sold this for $50,000. All right. I was able to do a deal a few years later with the guy I sold it from, where I licensed it back, where I was able to use these videos again and stuff because I had a couple more Get Your Ex Back products, which I was really, really good at. It was more of a passion project for me because I'd been through some breakups and I knew a bit about it. So I noticed when I wrote the copy for that, it converted real well. You know what I mean? Also got this one, Download Music for Kids. See, I kind of started to realize that, you know what, people bought them beats. So I was like, why don't I market my beats in other niches? Because, you know, I could produce music pretty quick, you know what I mean? And of course, you know what, when it comes to the ClickBank accounts, I'll tell you straight off the bat, this screenshot does not represent Beats 365. We're talking about $1 million in like 10 years. All right. So it was like the screenshot for this. I don't know if I have it in my list, but it was more like 100 to 200 a day for like 10 years. You know what I mean? So some niches you're going to get like 100 to 200 a day. And then some niches you're going to get freaking like this. This comes from the big ones like internet marketing, weight loss, solar power, survival, stuff like that. Now, it's an entirely different monster. We'll get to that in a second. This is a joint venture I did with my mom because she lives in Italy. So we created an Italian real estate website, and she has a friend there who would handle the listings. Like we had an upsell for actual listings, like where you could list your property, or you could, you know what I mean, through the members area. So it's again passion projects, right? I got a ton of these get back together products, you know, the Get Your Ex Back products. I had this Get Back Together machine, which was a PHP kind of on site software that where it would give you specific answers to your questions, and so it would survey you, and then you'd fill it out, and then it would give you the answers. And I mean, man, it's so great to be able to explain this stuff to you guys. I know you guys are all intermediate, so it's great to be able to show you like the big buck stuff, you know, the autopilot stuff, and that's what you can get from that type of thing. Like the Get Back Together machine, we were selling that as an upsell on the back of Get Back Together Now, and it was $100, man. And that thing would be like boom, 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 and customers loved it. You know what I mean? We get testimonials all day. People would be like, "Oh, this is the best." You know what I mean? And for that reason, like you do the work first, or you hire someone to do the work, then you have all of that. It's kind of like you can have it digitally packaged, non-exclusive style. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. Remember this? I talked about this in the documentary. Sorry, I gotta get used to this mouse. I got a million computers. This was the big, you know, we talked about this. This was a joint venture I did with someone who he was this Chinese guy, and he had this you know, Shaolin temple kind of grandfather who had all these herbal remedies and stuff. So he had all these teeth chattering. He had stop snoring, and then he had this lose man boobs. He also had a hemorrhoid one, all these different remedy type, you know, little weird niches and stuff. This thing was insane. Long story short, this was doing like $800 a day. We noticed that we were getting some emails in our you know, in the email box, right? And the emails were like, "Hey, you know, is my wife going to see this on the what do you call it, on the billing statement?" And so we were like, "Oh snap! People are afraid to buy it because of the name." And so that's why we changed the name to Chess Coach. And then we sold it for like some stupid amount, you know, like maybe $10,000 or something. I mean, which was really dumb. But it was kind of like we sold it because I didn't like seeing the people in pain and stuff. Like people would email us and they'd be like, "I'm going under the knife," and this and that. And I was like, something doesn't feel right. I don't know enough about it to be the owner of this, you know? And so sure enough, the guy who bought it was a weight loss person, and it was better fit for them. So it was kind of like a moral type of reason I sold it. You know what I mean? Very interesting story. You know what I mean? That's something you probably hear me talk about in the documentary on YouTube or whatnot. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are brand new to me and don't know me, a little late for me to be explaining this, but I actually like the rhythm of this webinar. I think it's pretty good. The order is good, even though I don't really prepare webinars. You know what I mean? When I do presentations, I kind of just have my mental, you know what I mean? But anyway, guys, if you don't know me already, you know, you can hit me up on Facebook. It's Jamie Lewis Money. All right. And my Facebook looks like this. It has a picture of me there. And then also on YouTube, I have a couple channels on YouTube. I'm actually going to be doing a YouTube product soon, talking about all the marketing, because people kind of know me as the video guy. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be doing that soon. But to find that, you just kind of type in Jamie Lewis Marketing, and I think that the my documentary comes up #1, And so you could watch that. And then on this channel, all right, it's a little crazy. Don't worry. You know what I mean? It's good stuff. I've got, 1.5 million views on this one. And it's got a lot of really cool stuff. It's got pretty much music and marketing. That's what I'm really good at. So just wanted to throw that in there, all right, for the people who are brand new. All right, so moving down the line, look, I mean, we don't need to go through all of these. You guys get the point, but there's something, you'll see a lot of music stuff, all right? I've done a lot of music stuff. Let me talk about some of the examples of flipping, right? We flipped this one, all right? And yeah, I don't think you're going to see this. A few of these you're not going to see on Flippa. That's the thing, is like when I talk about $1.2 million in site sales, that's not really all of it, but it's not like I really have proof of it because it was a private sale. Like for instance, the guy who bought this had bought something from me before. I think it was on eBay or on SitePoint before it became Flippa. Now, he hits me back up and says, hey, do you have any more? And that's what happens, is a lot of the time the people who buy things from you, they'll buy domains from you, they'll buy sites from you, they'll buy all sorts of different things. Like a lot of the time they'll buy a service. Like you can kind of categorize it as a service. You know what I mean? Like if someone's like, hey, could you write copy for me or something like that? Writing copy, you're gonna get paid 5 or 10 grand if you're good at it. You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff. This is an example of that, and I believe that I sold this one for 17,000. Now this is something else that this is like killing multiple birds with one stone. You guys are gonna want to hear about this. The guy who bought this, right? He had become my friend because when I'd sold him Profit Monster, all right, I sold him this. This is my first, make money type of, how to make money. And I put it out pretty early, but it wasn't really very good, because I didn't really have like huge screenshots, and I didn't know how the game worked. I didn't know about affiliates and joint venture partners and stuff like that. And so let me see how I find it. Oh, here's the Spanish version. That is hilarious. I did a Spanish version of it. All right, but this is, I know it's probably pretty bad quality because it's a really small picture, but I had sold this, okay? Sold that on eBay, all right? Not for a lot of money, like 30,000 or something. It didn't make much. Now, the guy who bought then said, a month later, 2 months later, said, hey, do you have any other websites for sale? And I said, yeah, I've got this. I've got Music Master Pro. And so Music Master Pro is okay, made $100 a day or something, right? $150 a day on autopilot. And so he says, all right, I'll buy that from you. And I think I sold Instrument Master and this together as a package for like 17 or 20,000 or something, right? So he buys this, and I said, and me and him were friends, and he's like, yeah, we should do some stuff down the line, I'm like, all right, cool. So I kept logging into the ClickBank account. I didn't change the password, so I kept logging into the ClickBank account and looking after the stuff, which was kind of like the agreement that we'd have together. You know what I mean? That's usually what I'd have with this same guy, and we knew each other, we're friends, and so I kept logging in, checking out the amount it made and everything. And then one day I log in there and it's making like 700 a day, and and if you guys don't know ClickBank, when you click on these bars, right, in a ClickBank account, it'll go to a screenshot like that 50 to 0 screenshot I had earlier. All right, you guys remember that, right? Let me see if I find it. Here it is. Right? It looks like that. All right. So you click on these bars, and then it'll go to this, right? Now, I had clicked on it, and here, how it says affiliate. Look, these are all different affiliates, right? But in this case, there was just one affiliate just doing it all. And I was like, who the heck is that affiliate? And I was like, this is insane. It's been going on 2 weeks. I hadn't checked it in like 2 weeks or something. And so I contacted my friend and I was like, what on earth is going on with Music Master Pro? And he says, bro, let's talk. And I was like, all right. And he's like, are you free tomorrow? I was like, yeah, all right. So I get on the phone with him and he's like, all right, buddy. He's like, go to Google and type in guitar. So I go to Google and he's like, what do you see that comes up number one? I say a YouTube video. It says guitar. It's a picture of a Asian guy playing a guitar. And he says, click on that video. It goes to a video with 50 million views on it. And he's like, what do you see in the description box? I was like, oh my God, it was an affiliate link promoting Music Master Pro. So all of that money coming in every day now was just because after I sold it, some random guy on YouTube decided to promote Music Master Pro with his YouTube channel that had 50 million views. I said, you've got to be kidding me. And so my friend, he says, I'm going to try to buy it tomorrow. So the next thing I know, like 2 days later, in the transaction report, it doesn't say this guy's name anymore. It says his name, my friend. So my friend ended up buying this thing. I said, how much you buy it for? He's like, you won't believe it, $2,000. I'm like, how did you do that? So long story short, it turned out that the guy who had that link there, it wasn't the owner of the account. So when my friend contacted the owner, he had him, he negotiated this $2,000 deal. And this guy, I don't know, he's like 17 years old or something. And he was getting played by the other guy who had put the link on there. And so then my friend says to me, all right, we're going to take over guitar lessons because we own guitar lessons now. Like no one can mess with us, this and that. And he was right, because now, because of this, the way he was able to find who it was promoting was in your AW stats. You see where the traffic is coming from. So he just linked it back. He saw that the most requests, if you sort it by most requests, and the most traffic, 10,000 hits a day, he saw that it was coming from this YouTube account, right? And so here we go. We have $1 million business all of a sudden because, we can build a list, we can build more guitar products, and they're all automatic, they're all autopilot. And so those are the things that can come from, eventually, step one, building the site, step two, selling the site, step three, keeping in contact with your client, with the person who bought it. And then you might end up, very, very happy partners later on down the road. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really take too much of a savvy marketer to end up in situations like that. It's not, a lot of people are think about it and complicate it way too much. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes very, very complicated. So, yeah, basically, I've shown you guys pretty much, into everything, and I just flip through these. These are a few more of the brands that I've done, right? And they're all digitally delivered. You should follow in the same footsteps. All right, this is something that you're going to have in your back pocket after this webinar. You're going to be able to really, understand what you can do with all these domains that you buy. Develop on a domain and do it in a way where you have distributors on a marketplace pushing traffic for you. And a lot of the time you can do it very, very quickly too with free cross promos. All right, which is what I always tell people about, and then we'll get into that in a little bit. Cross promos are when you contact people through the email and on the ClickBank marketplace, and you say, hey, would you like to do a cross promo? And this always takes a little bit of persuasion, like to try to explain to my clients how easy it is, or just as an example, how the privileged guys graduate from Cornell, they have nothing, right? They might just have a great education or something, right? And it's all in the math. Look, I'll show you. All right. You're going to go to you're going to go into this like this, all right? Once you have your offer, all right, online, you got a brand new offer and you're like, how do I get traffic, you know? Now, buying traffic is the wrong thing to do, all right? There's a lot of wrong things to do. The right thing to do is to reach out to people on the ClickBank marketplace, and you'd go about it like this. You'd say, hey, would you like to do a cross promo? Okay. Now you do that with like 100 people. Okay. And say, I should give you an actual real life story too of a client I have recently. Would you like to do a cross promo? And then, you got Dave, you got Sam, you got Bob, and you got Fred, and you got Susie. All right. And you got a whole bunch of other people that respond to you. Now, you did 50 or 100 people or whatever. You get a whole bunch more than this, but you're kind of hitting it off with Dave and Sam and Bob and Fred and Susie. They seem like really nice people. They respond back. They're like, yeah, sure, dude, what you got? And you're like, well, I got this. And you show them your website. All right, cool, sounds good. Dave says, okay, cool, sounds good. When would you like to do it? Sam says, I'm kind of booked up. I'll be free next week, though. And it goes on, everyone's different, but Dave starts sending traffic immediately, okay? Now you have 300 leads all of a sudden in your autoresponder, all right? Fred says, let's do it right now, okay? I'll promote you and you promote me. Well, you owe Dave something, right? So with Fred, you're like, all right, cool. Blast with the leads you got from Dave. Okay? Now that's one blast. You could do 2 blasts a day. Now remember, after you blast Fred blasted you now. Okay? Now you've got 600 total. Okay? Now the second blast you do has to be to Dave because Dave was cool. He gave you the power to do Fred. So before you know it, basically, look, long story short, a month later, you've got a list of 20,000 people and you're making 10,000 a week. All right. It's very, very simple, but you need something that converts, and you need something that produces a list, whether you're promoting it or you've got cross promos. All right. So let's talk about how to build one of these offers. All right. So the first thing that you do, and I want to talk a lot about this actually. This is very, very important. Where is my Photoshop? All right, here. All right, now you guys got Photoshop? Sorry, I got a little confused there. With Photoshop, you create diagrams, all right? You see this diagram here? This is very, very powerful, okay? This isn't the only type of diagram. Of course, you've seen all of those screenshots I was showing you with the little red arrow and stuff like that. You create those with Photoshop. Now, there's a lot of free graphics programs online, okay? Photoshop's very expensive. But diagrams are very, very important, okay? Because of what I was showing you with 50 to 0. Remember the picture of him with the trophies? And I was explaining that just because of that diagram, a lot of people do tell us that they bought it because of that diagram, all right? So diagrams are very, very important. Graphics are, when you think about graphics, like, if we were to look at 50 to 0, okay? The graphics on there, of course, done by my guys, are very, very good, but that's not all right? Because, this, great, throw Steve in there, right? Cool. But at the same time, you want diagrams, all right? Next, you want the copy, right? And you want this flow in between, all right? Very important to have flow, because sometimes people, all they do is read the flow. But if you just had flow, then it would look retarded, okay, for lack of a better word. Then you get to the point in the copy where you have some thumbnails of the product showing exactly what the product is, okay? And then he starts to show you links that are going to go either to ClickBank or JVZoo. With this one, you guys notice something here? Something you probably notice here is we're not building a list with this. Isn't that interesting? Now, part of the reason is because we want that high conversion. When you put on your forms, it interferes with your conversion rates, okay? Also, what we noticed, and this is very important, is we noticed that when we were building a list with this, it didn't work for some reason, okay? This page worked, but emails didn't work. Now, what that has to do with, I think, is that the offer is so enticing, it's so over the top enticing, that it's impossible for it not to convert with a football coach. It's almost like it's addictive to football coaches because it's something that seems rare. It is rare. I had to talk the guy into it. It wasn't easy to get him to do it. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit of the inner workings of this. All that is involved after they purchase is a thank you page, all right, where you can download the ebook and get the videos, all right? So it's kind of like, people ask a lot of the time, they say, well, I want a site that has 1 million pages and this and that. This doesn't have any buttons here. It doesn't have any other pages. This is all there is to this offer and to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sales that have come through from this offer. And, this reaction I get from Steve every time I'm in the deli, when he hugs me. It's one page. So a lot of times people complicate things, and that's where I come in. I try to help, try to clear it up, show you guys that, what is neat. Oh, and look, you have some pages here. These are necessary pages that explain, the professional stuff. You got the affiliate page, you got the terms page, the contact page, members page, and privacy policy. You know what I mean? So, keep it real, but look, tiny little links at the bottom because you don't want any leaks up here. All right? So those are the inner workings of an offer. All right? Very, very important. Am I leaving anything out? Not really. I would say that this is kind of like the entire blueprint behind these offers. Sure, we talked a little bit about split testing, but we never split tested 50 to 0. So it's kind of like if you pick something in a niche that we have some advantage to. I always tell people, you know what, if you want to go into the internet marketing niche, you've never made any money online, and you want me to create a video for you or something like that, all right, I create videos. You know what I mean? Like, I could do it. I can be real. I've done videos like Quit Your Job or Die, where it's like rap video and it converts. I put that on World Star Hip Hop and made my money back immediately. But what if that same person lost 100 pounds? You know what I mean? It has before and after pictures. You know how much money I can make you if you have that type of history, if you have that type of achievement in your life. You know what I mean? And so that's why I never want to try to overlook things like that. You know what I mean? Like if it would be such a tragedy. It's tragic if we overlook something like that you have an advantage at. I can compensate. I can fill in the blanks. Like, for instance, with my man Jerry the Fireman. You guys have probably seen that. Let me show you an example. Let me get everyone to go to Jerry the Fireman and give him a shout out because he's an up and coming YouTube sensation. All right, and Jerry the Fireman is pretty much he's straight up coming at you like an affiliate. All right, and that's the other side of things. But I'm proud of my productions. I mean, look, we've given him all the credit because he's the personality. When you type in Jerry the Fireman, you got his first video, all right? So we're launching
Yo,
this.
what's going on? This is Jerry the Fireman. Just want to take a minute and make this video and relieve some frustration. I've been a little irritated lately. People are driving me crazy. I've been as frustrated as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
All right, check out Jerry the Fireman. That's one of my joint ventures, partnerships with my man Jerry. He's a client of mine, and that's the example. Is like, we try to get you guys to kind of come out of your shell and realize the power behind these models. It's kind of like I want to turn everyone into what I do. You know what I mean? Like kind of, and what I do is pretty badass. Not to toot my own horn, but I mean, it's a little different. That's the cool thing is it's a little different, and it makes a little bit more money than all the other gurus, and that's why I try to get you guys to study with me instead of them, because we do it a little differently and we make a lot more money than they do. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm going to take questions in a little bit. I do want to offer you guys a joint venture if you'd like to do one with us. We've got some really good deals, and there won't be any hard sell or any limited quantity or anything like that. Although if you guys are jumping on it, you want to become Steve Christie at 50-0 or something, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to close it out and be more like that. Like I'll close it out if too many people get in, and I'll watch it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of that, guys, this is my folder on my computer. All right. And this is what it looks like. It's funny. I've got them all in this 2007 folder. And right here, we're looking in the Beats 365 folder. All right. This RAW means PSDs, Photoshop documents and stuff. And then once I export them as JPEGs, and I put them in here. And a lot of the time, like it's either ebooks or videos. All right. And, if we all do a joint venture together, what I'll do is I'll give you guys an option, kind of like the bare bones first. And then if you wanted to add to it, it's entirely acceptable. You know what I mean? Very easy. I'd call that the strategic replacement. All right. A strategic replacement has to do with if you guys want to, like say, for instance, if you chose this, right? If you chose for us to do a joint venture with how to get girls, right? Or seduction, right? Now we have this, we're going to populate the thank you page with an ebook on how to do seduction, right? Now that's a licensed ebook. Same thing with on the front page, it's going to be a licensed video that I've done in that niche. Now we only do the niches that I have because of the bare bones strategy. But ahead of time, if you guys speak with us and you're like, hey, you know what, I really have my heart set on this, then all we'd, horseback riding or something that I don't have, right? Then what we'd do is we'd ask you to provide the video for horseback riding and the product, right? And so what we really would like for you guys, the thought process, what we'd really like you guys to do is see eye to eye with us on one of the niches that we can fulfill ourselves in terms of products, right? And those niches are these, okay? The reason is because we have ebooks to all of these. We have a ton of stuff that we can license out in terms of sales videos and back-end members area videos, as well as ebooks, the actual Word file. So we can either roll with it as it is, or we can customize it, and you guys can put in your 2 cents into it. And that goes with all of these niches here, all right? And they're very, very, very good niches in terms of, they're not too minimum traffic, but not totally saturated, like for instance, you don't really see me tout weight loss as a keyword. All right, because there's so many different sub niches inside of weight loss. Same thing with, look, you might see make money online, right? You don't really see me do work from home because that's so gigantic, right? So it would be like work from home, then make money online, and then internet marketing fits inside of that. It's like a Baryoshka doll, You know what I mean? You ever seen a Berioshka? Is that what they're called? Berioshka dolls? The Russian dolls where there's a little one, and then you open up that one and there's a little one. And then you got solar energy, for instance, is a good one. And so again, if y'all don't want to pick one of my niches, then make sure that you can supply the product and the front end, like Steve did from 50 to 0. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit of the process, right? The first order of business, pretty much, is for us to get in contact with each other with our 4-man team. We've got a 4-man team, and so we get in contact with each other, and we verify everything. We verify that we're going to be able to get in contact with you. If we can't get in contact with you within the first week, we just cancel the project. We cancel your order. And then if we can, then we start rolling. We start rocking and rolling. Now, it takes about 2 weeks to create the offer, right? Now, the strategic replacement, for instance, if you do want to add to the product, if you want to supply your own product like Steve did, right? Then that strategic replacement will come into play after we get the offer up in 2 weeks, which is great because during the 2 weeks that we're building the offer, then you guys can build your products, all right? Or get your products ready to go. Now, something that happens immediately is if you do pick one of these niches that we can supply you with the ebook right away, and then you can begin to edit it, add your own. You could use the format, whatever you like. And if you don't want to do that and you want us to do everything for you, that's totally fine too. You could still have a licensed video on the front end of the site like 50 to 0 and have the members area. You know what I mean? And so let me take a couple of questions real quick, and then I'll be very excited to start working with you guys. It's going to be very exciting. So oh, great questions, guys. That's awesome. All right. Richard Seegers, I'd be interested to JV with you on the HIT protocols. It's the research on gymmers wasting money unnecessarily. What's gymmers? Yeah, that's the idea. I have a great freaking screenshot. This is when 50 to 0 started off, right? And then this is when it ended up number 1 on the sports football category. And this is a picture of my email. This is a great screenshot for you guys. This is a picture of my look at this sales pouring in. Every time you see this 50 to 0 2, that was the second. Why it says 2 is the second product. Look at that. Every 10 minutes or something. Oh, this is 2 minutes. Look at that. Every 3 minutes or something, there's another 50 to 0 pouring in. And then what's funny is this is gonna really help everyone on the webinar. Listen straight up, guys. What do you see in this email, right? You see money coming in. You see me buying anything, right? Right? I'm so anti-consumer. I want you guys to become sellers, not buyers. All right, here's me sending someone money. You know who this was? This was the guy who answered one of the guys who answers my emails. All right, one of my customer service guys. That's the only guy here. That's the only company that I spend money to is hiring people to do things for me. Individuals. You know what I mean? I never buy. You never see me purchasing any, programs. These huge, MLM programs that all these people buy, or you never see me. A lot of people's emails, it's all receipts from, the Amazon or something. They just can't. People just love buying. The Black Friday culture. You know what I mean? And so I want your emails to look like this, okay, where there's sales coming in. not just buying things. Does that make sense? But this day was cool, and I made sure that I let these receipts come through the email and no other ones, because then it would have been just this was just straight up to see because it was a brand new product. Usually I would make these CB sale invoices go into the spam folder because it's just way too many of them from all the different products. You know what I mean? And so it's a really good example, guys. You know what I mean? Like, you make your email look like that. I hope it's inspiring or whatnot. If you're not already doing it, remember that there's a lot of different niches out there, and you know what I mean. So yeah, look, check it out. This is what I can do for you guys. If you would like to do a joint venture like I did with Steve, we can either do. I have it all explained, which I'll bust out. But we could do it either on JVZoo or ClickBank, and it's a little bit different. I usually do like affiliate pages, which are fine for cross promos, but this special deal, it's a little different, where we can do the entire product and have the video. You're going to be able to license any video from my catalog, and you're not going to ever end up in problems with trademarks or copyrights or whatnot. And so I hope you accept if you're cool with my crude, just throwing this on a text edit, but it's a really great way that I can edit it at the same time if need be or whatnot. Depending on what comes through the questions box, you guys might want to customize the projects to your liking. Okay. So first off, domain name. This time I pick it. I choose the domain name so that it is a hybrid. It's between a keyword domain name and a brand name. All right, those are the best. In my opinion, the domains that can either be a brand name and that brand name is already being searched, that's going to be a great example. An example of that would be like getyourexback.com. All right, something like that that's already being searched, and you can use it as a brand name. So that domain name, of course, boom, jump on it, and then set the name servers, the cPanel, and then we begin to create the offer. In that process, you're in touch with Vinny, me, Roman, and Isaiah. All right, so we got a 4-man team that works with you through it, and we also have a thread through Gmail that we all respond to, making sure that everything is being created to in the direction that we need. Of course, I'm kind of like the watchdog that makes sure that everything's going in the right direction. And then, of course, you're gonna either dictate which. It's kind of like a ball game between me and you, where we're trying to figure out what you'd like to contribute to the project, and then, of course, going through my filter and making sure everything's going to work. You know what I mean? And then, so we create the offer and then think out the angle. For instance, if you're going to do another domaining, like if you've had success selling domains with Domainer Elite, you might want to do your own domaining project where you have that in an ebook, and then we can compensate it and build a hybrid based on both of our successes. And then, of course, graphics, jumping into the diagrams and the header and the e-covers, and the template, which you can use again and again. And that'll come in. I'll explain a little bit of how that's important to remember down the road. And then, of course, the copy, and then which you'd seen on 50 to 0, the type of thing where we represent you as you are the artist. That works really well. It's a big advantage that you're going to have with other people in the marketplaces. And then licensed videos, of course. If you wanted to come in and you wanted to produce a video, what we can do is we can edit that video. If your video is compatible with our system, like for instance with Jerry the Fireman, I had to work out different export protocols because he had produced it on an iPad. Now that iPad, I just had to figure out different protocols, but sometimes it wouldn't work. And then that's when I say, hey, edit it, like, for instance, makeup with Mare. Have you guys seen any of her stuff? My client who's doing makeup tutorials on YouTube, she does all her editing herself. So if you guys were willing to, be able to produce on your end, then it's super easy. We'll put whatever you want on that page, whatever you want at all. Licensed videos or your own videos is I took the long route explaining that. And then a licensed ebook or database. All right. And the difference between these is this is the front end where people see it on the front end of the site. And this is what people get once they purchase your product. All right. So this is your product. This is your presentation. All right. And then, of course, plugged into ClickBank or JVZoo. All right. Now it's up to you. If you're on a time frame and you want something, you want to start doing cross promos tomorrow, or you want to do it the minute that we have everything done, and you don't want to do any actual affiliate recruitment or any work with products, you might want us to just plug that autoresponder into ClickBank using an affiliate link. And that's the quickest way to start actually making sales immediately without having to worry about customer service. You just utilize someone else's product on the marketplace. That's a special custom hop link that we use so that, you do those cross promos, you're promoting someone, you're not making sales from him, but when he promotes you, you're making affiliate sales from him. You see what I'm saying? And then, of course, the recruitment map, which is if you go into horseback riding or whatnot, or some obscure niche, or something that's not self-explanatory, we're going to map out, we're going to do the research and make sure, we show you exactly who to be contacting or who to be talking with in terms of recruitment. And then the recruitment emails, the actual verbiage that you would communicate to people that you are looking to do cross promos with. All right. And then you're going to get 4 special webinar training series. All right. Where you're going to come on every weekend on Sunday, and we will do special webinar training with you, and probably 10 to 20 people are going to be getting in tonight estimated. So it's not like it's a huge webinar. There's a lot of Q&A, a lot of training, a lot of accommodation. And then, of course, we're going to get you a folder with customer service swipes. All right. If you are going to run an autopilot offer, the one thing that you're going to need is to be able to copy and paste you can log in here, because that's what people usually ask for. When you log into your customer service email, that's usually what you see all the way down the page is, can I log in? I can't log in, etc. Or where's the thank you page? Where's the product? I need to download it again. Sometimes you get questions, and this is included in the folder. You get questions like, I can't unzip the ebook. And then, or I can't use Stuff It Expander, or you know what I mean? And so all of those explanations are on swipes that you can copy and paste to your customers. And, other than that, it's pretty much autopilot. But the great thing about it, I want to make it really clear, the difference in both are great. You might think that, running my own product sounds like a lot of work or whatnot. It's actually less work because you're on the marketplace. And so you don't need to do a heck of a lot of cross promotion. You don't have to do a heck of a lot of recruitment. Okay. If you do want to do recruitment, then it's like A or B. A being an affiliate site with the opt-in goes directly to an affiliate offer and you make commissions from that. That's A, right? Plan A. Now, the good things about that is you don't have to do any customer service. You're selling someone else's product. Now, plan B would be you having your own product, right? Now, the good news about that is that you don't need to do any cross promos. The bad news would be that you have to do some customer service. You see what I'm saying? So I say do both. You know what I mean? Because you could have a page with your own product and it's on the marketplace, right? And that's where the big money comes in. That's where the big power comes in. That's where the big lists are made, etc., and all done on autopilot. And then you can have another page that's a squeeze page that you can do with cross promos, and you can go right out. And then the good thing about that is that the people aren't going to be real critical of you, and think of it like a joint venture where like you need to prepare a special webinar for their customers and stuff like that. And a lot of the time, you're going to be talking with people on your own level as well. You know what I mean? You're not going to do, if you in boxing, for instance, I always say, you're not going to fight Mike Tyson if you're a featherweight. You know what I mean? And so, I know Mike Tyson's been out of boxing for a long time, but you get my drift. So yeah, guys, what I'll do is I'll open up the doors for you. You can jump in if you'd like. All you have to do is go to customoffers.net, and I'll walk you through a little bit of it, and you probably have a lot of questions and stuff. But customoffers.net looks like this, and that's my site where we do all of this biz, and you guys can jump in, and we'll start doing it. It looks like that. We have two different ideas here, right? Like these are the different payment options. So you can either do 2 payments of $9.97 or just a one-time fee of $14.97. And this is pretty. I mean, they're both good because some people can't afford $14.97 right away. Some people are skeptical or whatnot, and so the 2 payments is before and after it's done. All right. And so, of course, that ties in with, of course, people say, well, do you have a guarantee, etc. I never guarantee anything because I think it's unethical. You know what I mean? But all I can say is that we do this special thing that many people don't do. Like we're spending money on the graphics and everything. And so it would make no sense if we were to be like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll refund your payment, etc. if you don't like it and this and that. But what we do is it's more of like we give free websites until you are satisfied. All right. Of course, some people can abuse it. So we kind of do it like, you know what, it's a 2-week frame. And then we do another 2 weeks of working with you and recruiting and working together. So it's not like, someone 2 weeks later, we just don't want clients to say a week in, we're still creating the website, and a week in clients are saying, all right, this is the next one I want to do, and so we're pretty liberal. All we ask, we're pretty reasonable, liberal people here. I don't mean politically liberal, but, we're pretty, what do you call that? Flexible. And we just ask you to be reasonable and flexible as well. You know what I mean? We're like kind of like the hippies of the internet marketing industry or whatnot. But we went over what you can expect from it. That's what we'd really like to do is start 2016 off with a bang. And so I would say I'm going to open up for questions now, and then it'll be good to meet our new joint venture partners. And so let's see. Oh, snap. All right. Yeah, that sounds like a plan, Avram. Yeah, definitely. And Vance says, I like it, but traffic is my problem. No. See, the whole idea is that, remember when we go back to, let's go back to, I guess I would like to illustrate it. You guys remember this, right? You have to worry about traffic when you're in the yellow, okay? When you're in the red, you don't worry about traffic, okay? You don't find traffic with this. The only reason why you would maybe work on traffic is, if we were to split this in half, we could split this pink in half, all right? It's not really necessary because it's nothing like this, okay? The yellow, you worry about traffic. That's what you work on. You have to work on that all freaking day. But with this, it's kind of like you work on building your offers so you don't have to worry about traffic. You know what I mean? The reason is because, well, let me quiz you guys. Do you guys know why? Tell me in the questions box. All right. Others are doing the selling. Yeah, Brian Adams. That's what I'm talking about. Brian Adams hit it on the mark. Yeah, exactly. They're either getting a commission or in the cross promo world, they're getting your reciprocal blast. Okay? That's what the people would get out of it. But put it this way, you only have two, it's simplify it. All right? Let's make it totally simple. Promotion, you don't have anyone getting, you have nothing to give anyone. Okay? Except your promotion. In here, what you have to give people is either reciprocal mailing, which is, they scratch your back, you scratch their back, or a commission from your product on either JVZoo or ClickBank. You see what I'm saying? So those are the differences between being an affiliate and being a vendor. All right? Products, promotion, affiliate, vendor. You see what I'm saying? Services is kind of like my service either on custom offers or on, I'll show you another service that I have. All right, this is my video production company. All right, this is a bit of the same thing. All right, although to create a video, I usually do it for these prices here. All right, so this is an example. You guys can check that out too if you'd like as well as reference. That's service. All right, domains. You guys are very familiar with domain selling. Products like these or promotion like these YouTube videos. You see what I'm saying? Or email marketing or Facebook marketing. You know what I mean? That all falls into play here. The cool thing about this is that truly autopilot. There's affiliates pushing your stuff. It's like having a record deal where there's distributors selling your music. You know what I mean? Wow, there's a lot of questions. All right, let me jump in here. All right, sorry I haven't been able to get to a lot of you like Jason, Bryant, Zachary, Stuart. There's a lot of people still here in the webinar. There's almost 400 people. So I wish I could get to all you guys. I mean, Jason had asked, can you only see these questions? I have an idea for the IM niche. Oh, yeah. All right, here's a question. Kirk, what else do we have to do after we purchase your services? Is this completely done for you, including the product and the product idea? Yes, Kirk, exactly. What we are going to do is exactly these things. All right. What you have to do is when the product is done, right? Say you coming from Kirk. Kirk looks like one of my students who really doesn't want to do much, right? Do I get that drift? And so you're probably going to want us to do the entire product as well, so it comes up on the marketplace, etc. All right. Now, I want you guys to think of it as it is like a vehicle, though, and I would like you to steer the vehicle. All right. If you have this done for you with a product, there's really not much for you to do, but you can always amplify it in terms of traffic and conversion. And so what I want you to think about is have passion when it comes to your conversion and kind of be a good person to work with, because I wouldn't be telling the truth if I said there's some people's projects are going to be insanely amazing and some people's projects are going to be people who don't want to add anything to it or have no ideas or whatnot. Like there's such a difference between 50 to 0 and body ideal. Okay, that's just me being honest with you. And so you know what? If you want to work on conversion with us and you want to add your own, like what, for instance, Jerry the Fireman did, or what, Makeup with Mayor does, you know what I mean? Like there's always an incredible difference between people who add a lot of their own content onto it or a lot of products into it or whatnot. All right. It's not too much of a difference. Like, for instance, we're going with a model that's your own product on the marketplace, so it's pretty hard for you to fail. But there's going to be a huge difference between something like 50 to 0, where you have 25% conversion rates, and then you have, Music Master Pro didn't have 50% conversion, 25% conversion rates. Hell no. Music Master Pro was like more like 5%. Okay. It was still a smash hit, but I don't mean to scare you, Kirk, but it would be great for you to just rack your brain and think about what you can add to it. What amazing feats have you achieved? What have you achieved that is something that we can package together and be creative about, and be really passionate about together. Something for not only your resume, but for my resume, where I can flaunt your success. I could be proud of the project that we did together. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'd really recommend is like, don't just think like, hey, it's an entirely done for you thing. It is. It's basically on ClickBank and on the marketplace. You know what I mean? Like, we purchase your domain for you. We purchase if you do decide on ClickBank, we purchase the $50 administration fee, and you can just entirely sit back. It is totally done for you. But how can the sky is the limit with this stuff though, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to seeing 20% conversion rates on stuff that I do, with someone who's really passionate, And so that's all I'd recommend you guys think about is if you do have anything you would like to, contribute to it, that would be great. But, the bottom line is, if you have any doubts, it is entirely done for you. This is a very special thing that we're doing. But, it depends on, we might have a client who says, I don't want to have my own product. I don't want to I don't want to deal with that. I want to just have something that makes affiliate money, and then I could do cross promos and build lists, and which is, I would call a hybrid between the two. You know what I mean? What other questions here? Richard, no, we will not build the project on WordPress because we want it to be easily editable. Like, for instance, do you know how easy it is to do it? Like, to click on, you just log into FTP and you just click on the file and then just go dun 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 dun. Your HTML editor pops up, dun 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 dun, fix it, boom, done. You don't have to log in or anything. You know what I mean? You already have it all set up with your FTP. Sound good? Here he is. Desmond, how are you? I've seen you a bit. I've seen you in my email a bit, Desmond. Can I supply photos and resume with great backup stories? Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? We want to be able to take, like, for instance, your photos. Like, if you had the before and after, then what we'll do is we'll make a diagram with your before and after pic. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in weight loss, you want to do what I was talking about earlier. And then we'll follow up with the ebook. We're going to send over the file to you where you can talk about your personal story in the ebook, and then it has all of the stuff licensed from us, all of the important information. And the ebooks are really good too, man. They're like upwards of 30 to 50 pages or whatnot. Small print and everything. It's not like the big print ebooks or whatnot. And then, in terms of, like, if you were like, hey, I've got these videos or whatnot, you upload them to YouTube and you send us the embed code and we'll put that on the thank you page. You know what I mean? And so, we want it as streamlined as possible. That's why, we have a certain stage at what we do stuff, so we'll do stage 1. Everyone will be in stage 1. And then stage 2, everything's done. We publish to ClickBank, right? And then stage 3 is the recruitment, boom, 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 bam, go live. All right. And what we really hope to achieve is that you guys are going to be mentioned as testimonials, you know what I mean? Like, where it's something that I can be really excited about, post on my Facebook about, you know what I mean? So, Yeah, so we got Kirk, we got Avram. You guys are getting in, right? And then Richard. Let me see if I can find any cool questions in here. All right, Francis. Oh, Jared has a good question. Do you rehash your previous products or revise or create something new? Um, we have like a basic minimum, right? Like where we have products that are licensed. Like on my hard drive, I don't know if you've ever watched my material, but I have over 1 million files on my hard drive. And they consist of 12 years of producing because that's what I do, right? I consider myself an artist. I create software, I create products, and we have a ton of products. And a lot of those products are not active. You know what I mean? I primarily spend most of my time in this niche nowadays. You know what I mean? So I have all these old other niches that are acceptable by ClickBank or whatnot are not on the ClickBank marketplace. So in these situations, like where I have a limited amount of clients, you guys can kind of take the reins with a lot of those files and a lot of those products. Now that's the basic minimum. All right. So I don't like to call my material rehashed. You know what I mean? Like, because it's either ebooks, databases, videos, or audio files. Now, when you look at the competition, they have a whole bunch of rehashed stuff. All right, we'll use that word for their stuff because they have a stupid ebook or something or some product that really has nothing to do with much, And so that's the basic minimum. Now, if you are good enough at creating a product, we're inviting you to contribute to the thank you page where people are download their product for, they spend $20 or $40 and then they download the product off of the thank you page. So if you wanted to contribute your own product to that, Jared, then that's really, really encouraged actually. Like I would, it's feel free to do that. That's when we can have some fun and we can add it to the front end. We can show a picture of your own products on the front end. You know what I mean? So I hope I answered your question. Let's see. Lauren says, what is the cutoff time to enter your custom offers? Do you have to have experience with the domain flipping yet? What is the cutoff time to enter your custom offers? I don't think there is any cutoff time. I'm not sure. I can take a look to see the orders, but Lauren, I don't think you need to worry about that because, and you tell me, how is your domain flipping going? How is your portfolio looking? You let me know more about that. Thanks, Stuart. Appreciate that. And thank you all for such great feedback and awesome support and everything. Paul says, if you supply the products, does that mean the product you are selling is not unique? If it is not unique, how do you differentiate? You differentiate by the fact that 99% of people, remember, there's a lot of people out there that are buying licensed products or whatnot from, really terrible sources or whatnot. Now, when you go on, when say you do amazing, all right, and you have traffic and you're great at cross promos, you're doing, $3 million a year or whatnot, sending traffic to a licensed product. you are at that point the 1%, and the 99% are not doing that. You know what I mean? So everyone thinks about it like, everyone seems to think that mechanisms are always the same. You know what I mean? Like thinking of things like everyone's always equal. Skill is always equal. There's no such thing as someone having more skill. There's no such thing as someone having more. Oh, and this is it, right? And then the other idea is that the people who do have more money are luckier, right? So that's all wrong. You have to understand that there's not just black and white. I mean, you've got like 1% conversion rate, you got a 5% conversion rate, you got a 10% conversion rate. And then when it comes to refund rates, or when it comes to performance or acceptability on a marketplace, you won't be on that marketplace very long if you don't have good stuff, or if you don't have it's all in the rates. Like you want to shoot for a very, very low refund rate, like 5% or something. And so you have to realize it's all in those numbers. It's all in the numbers. And people, a lot of the time, like especially working with newbies, like I remember when I first started to work with Steve, he didn't understand at first. Like he was like, why am I only getting $5? I thought it was $47. And I was like, look, man, we're giving 70% to the affiliate. That's why affiliates drive that much traffic at the product. If you make it any lower and it's not competitive with other people, then they just won't drive the traffic, and then you don't make any money. So that's how the marketplaces work. You know what I mean? You'll see that the same thing with like a CD. Like if you're Lil Wayne and your CD costs $15, Lil Wayne's not getting $15 every time someone buys the CD, because the manufacturer, the distributor, the record label, his boss, the baby, all these people are getting, he's getting like $2 or like $1 or something from the $15 if he's lucky. A lot of the time, these new record deals, right? People get, these artists, they get a 360 deal, like where they get a loan. They'll give them $1 million, and they have to pay for all their stuff from that $1 million, and then their record sales, 100% of it goes to the record company. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like a deal where you can keep about 30 or 40% of your money, and you still have those distributors. You know what I mean? And so you're not going to be like, with us, we need to make sure that for the same reasons, we need to make sure that you guys are happy. And I've been doing this for a long time, and it's all in the numbers, man. It's like if you're doing good stuff, if the products your clients are using are good stuff, it's all good stuff. I mean, that's why skepticism is usually from people who are newbies, or don't, have never done this before, or never seen how it's all in the numbers, and it's all got to fit in. And if there is something, like a little bit of a learning curve, or a little bit of something that, a little extra effort that you have to accomplish, just do it. It's worth it. That's all I could say to people. Once you get into this type of thing and you have your own offer, and you have you have that power, and you're able to flip it down the road for $100,000, it's entirely worth it. And so, from the questions box, there's so much support, and there's so many, great people in my webinars, the sweetest people in the world. But, on big webinars like this, there's also, and I really did like your question, Paul. There's a couple other questions that it's kind of like I'd be repeating myself, not from Paul, but there's some questions here, like there was something from this other person where they were asking, like, why do you do this? Why don't you just do it for yourself, etc. For two reasons, and that's like one of the questions where it's kind of like, it probably would be difficult for other people to answer that. But part of the reason is that I have a huge infrastructure, and so, and a lot of my infrastructure, my guys are sitting there waiting for people like you. You know what I mean? And they're with me. We're talking like a long time, and so we have that infrastructure. And the second reason is that you guys make it you guys make it happen, really. You know what I mean? Like you kind of, you're like the extra link in the chain. You know what I mean? So when you fit, you kind of make the it's like that in the ecosystem. It's like an ecosystem, or like your diet. You know what I mean? You don't want to be like a good diet is the 4 food groups. You know what I mean? Or in the ecosystem, or in business, or in finance, and it's like you always need your pillars, or the legs of the chair. If you take out one of the legs of the chair can't sit up. So in order to be able to push out new joint ventures like this, it's very important that we have fresh blood, we have new people involved with the joint ventures that we do. I mean, it wouldn't be a joint venture. Like, what am I doing myself? I'm working on. I'm always working on things like this, so that takes up a good amount of my time. But when it comes to my own products coming out, I've got a Video Legend coming out hopefully at the end of February. And then after that, I've got Launch Prophecy coming out. And I've got a lot of internet marketing products coming out this in 2016. And I've also got a few products on the back burner, like that I've been speaking with people. One of them is Mega Music Maker, and I've been speaking with Sean Ali regarding that, hoping that we could do a 2.0 launch of Mega Music Maker. And so those are the types of things. Those are my projects that I'm working on. And I always shoot to my goals are, it wouldn't be right for me to say my goals are the same as a newbie's goals. Like someone who's just starting out. I put myself in their shoes, in your guys' shoes a lot. Like when I first started out, I just wanted that $500 a day. You know what I mean? And then, so now it's like, if I'm working like a month or 2 months on a project like Video Legend, it's like if my goal was only $500 a day, I probably wouldn't be in business because I have the infrastructure. You know what I mean? So I don't know if people, if you guys have ever been in this position of like running multiple businesses, but I mean, it's pretty good, man. You can, especially with the autopilot models, is really what you have to make sure that you focus on, the non-exclusives. You know what I mean? Because the non-exclusives are where it's going to free up time, and you're going to have time to be able to do all sorts of other stuff, and just to keep creating non-exclusive stuff. So yeah, clipsguru.com sounds like a good domain. Is that a video product? That's like a video guru, Clips Guru. It's pretty dope. So yeah, guys, let's wrap it up and get something to eat. All right. Thank you, Francis, for the awesome feedback. He says I can relate. It helps people succeed and fuel the big machine. Thanks for your response. Daniel says, Jamie, I appreciate the courtesy that you and your people showed me today regarding the software. Obliged for the kindness. Daniel. Oh, all right. I'll tell them that. Thank you. And Vance says, do you work all the time? No, not really. I've actually got the flu right now, actually. I didn't tell anyone that, but it's going away a little bit. But thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is what I hope you guys got out of this webinar, right? I hope you guys were able to, the swipes I sent out via email getting you guys here. I gave you a heads up, what it'd be about. I was talking about, like, let's talk about the other $12 million or whatnot that I did in addition to domaining, which falls in place with it pretty well, because a lot of, when I show my Flippa account, you see a lot of sites being sold and stuff as well. So it's, that's something that we get a lot of questions about, because people want to develop on domains they buy, not only just flip them right away for $100 or $500. So it's why it's really important for us to get into it. And then second of all, we're going to have a whole bunch of new joint venture partners. And so, and I think this replay too, this replay of the webinar is going to be amazing. And I really appreciate everyone for coming. You know what I mean? So yeah, so we're looking at, we've been here about 1 hour and 38 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll stop the recording, and then we'll talk a little bit more. All right. But for everyone who's watching this recording, you rock.